All right, we're gonna go live. All right, guys, thank you very much for attending our live stream today on YouTube. My name is Mike. I'm with Directqm. I have a couple of guests here today. We're gonna talk about the real estate market in the Bay Area. So again, thank you very much for coming by or attending our stream at 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. I know it's early. I know, it's hot yesterday, so people are stepping in, sleeping in and everything else. So I just want to go around. I know there's a couple more guests coming in a little bit later, so I'm going to go around this little rectangular table, if you will, and we're going to talk about, share with you, introduce yourself, how long you've been in the real estate business, who you're with, which company, and, so who want to go first? Doesn't matter.
Yes, my name is Tai Pham. I've been in real estate since 2005, and I live in the Bay Area since 1980. Right now, I'm with Intel Real Estate.
Intel Real Estate. All right, perfect. So let's go this way because,
Yeah.
so let's go this way.
Hey, this is Krishna. I'm working for Directqm Mortgage as an assistant loan processor. And I recently joined this company and I love to work with the mortgage and real estate. Earlier, I used to work with the insurance industry. So it's very fun for me in this field and hope to see you.
Okay, so next.
Yes, my name is Tammy Nguyen, and I'm in the business of real estate for 20 years, and I work at Intel right now.
Perfect.
Same company with Thai.
Okay,
Yes.
great. All right, so if all you guys watching live with us right now, if you have any questions, there's a chat box. You're welcome to drop us a line so that way we can respond to your questions. So let's get into it. Today it's about real estate in the Bay Area. So it covers San Francisco, basic San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah.
And I know that some of you are not in the like North Bay or anything like that. So let's talk about wherever you guys feel comfortable about. And the biggest thing is, again, you guys know the market better than anyone because you guys are out there.
Yeah.
You guys are, walking the street. You guys are going to the restaurants.
Yeah.
You guys are talking to realtors, different companies. So I want you guys to kind of just share with everybody what you think about the real estate market. What are they doing right now with all the interest rate that's rising? The stock market's going on with all the numbers that's red right now, right?
Yeah.
And what's going to be in the future. Now, I know that we're not going to, be specific, okay? So we're going to go ahead and talk about just whatever your experience is. So why don't you go ahead and go first?
Well, I have a question from my client all the time about, especially when I with the stock market down and the interest rate increase. They always ask me, should I buy the house now or should I wait? Is the market going to crash and so on? And I did a lot of research online and because the information always different, it can confuse me as well the other people.
Right.
So one of the place I did research is from California Realtor, the Associate Realtor. It said that the right now the active listing is increase. However, the home sales decreased to 21%. So, and looking at that, really confused myself as well. So I have no answer for them yet. What do you think?
Well, first, let's walk around. Stanley, you want to join us? Stanley just came on, so I don't know if you want to wait for a little bit. He's going to join us right here. So go ahead and have a seat over here. That'd be great. Okay, so go ahead and introduce yourself. Who you are, or who you work for, how long you've been in real estate or mortgages. Just tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Stanley. I'm a real estate broker and MLO. I have my broker back in 2002, and I used to be a plumber of Basic Y, and I worked with my 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So I have my own office named SPL Building and Investments.
Okay, perfect.
So yes, that's all.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go back to Antai's question is that, a lot of people ask, what do you think about the real estate market? Should I buy now, or should I wait? The data that Antai gave you guys is basically from the California Associated Realtor up to April 2022. So again, it's not till today, but the data is a little bit about 1 month late or so. So, but the important part that Antai's touched on, right, and I think everybody can chime in as well, is that the active listing right now increased from last year.
Yeah.
Right. So last year we all know that we don't have enough property, but the home sale decreased year over year
Yeah.
of 20% roughly, right? Well, this one shows 21%. So let's just say 20%. So the answer, to be honest with you, is very difficult to answer, right? Like answer where, just like people ask me in the mortgage world, should I lock my rate today or should I wait, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing in real estate. It's like, should I buy now or should I wait, right? So if you, my go-to answer to both market or both businesses is that do what you are comfortable and can afford to do.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The reason for that is if you're gonna buy a property and live in it, right? And this is your primary home, not investment property or anything like that, right? And then it's always good to buy. Okay. I'm not talking about as an investment vehicle. I'm just talking about a place to live. Okay. When you buy a house, you have pride of ownership, you have security, right? Because you don't have to worry about the landlord coming and raising rent or kicking you out or whatever it is, right? Or the landlord decides, hey, I want to sell my home, so you have 30 days to move out, something like that, right? So you don't have to worry about that when you buy a home for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. As in investment purposes, that'll be a different story. And we can get into that a little bit later because that has a lot more to do with how much, time frame, holding cost, a lot of things, which we will do another segment on. Okay. Same thing with rates for mortgage, right? People say, oh, should I lock now or should I wait? The bond market is doing this. Fed is raising rates, 25, 50, 75, 100 basis. What should we do, right? So my answer to the same thing is that you lock the rate because, again, customers decide when to lock the rate. We don't do that. They decide to do that. And we just give them option. So we say, just lock whenever you feel comfortable. If the payment, you're comfortable with it, lock it. Because we never know what happened tomorrow. We never know what happened in the next hour, right? So the market changes all the time. So if the market goes up, meaning the rate goes up and you lock it, at 9 a.m., then you make some money, sort of, right? But again, it doesn't really matter because why? Because if you're buying a primary home for yourself and you lock in a rate that, let's just say, a little bit high, okay? Throughout the years, when the rate goes down, you're going to go ahead and do a refinance anyway, right? So don't stress yourself out over that little $10, $20, $30 payment per month, right? So just keep your mind at ease, lock the rate that you feel that you can, afford to pay, lock it in so that we can close the deal on time and get the property you want. So the answer to your tie is, honestly, it depends on the customer, depends on, their situation. It depends on how much time they have and all that. So it depends if they're buying a primary or they're buying as an investment. So it all depends. So that's how I would answer that question. Okay. There's one thing that it kind of bothers me quite a bit. Okay. I used to be a licensed appraiser. So I want everybody to kind of give their thoughts about this. Okay. So we've seen last year till now probably 20-30% increase in the Bay Area of home prices. Okay. So I want to throw this out, and even through the audience as well, please, the chat box, if you have a chance, type in your questions. Let's just say, okay, I have a property that's listed for $1 million. Okay, so all the realtors, all the news, supply, demand, not enough supply, too much demand, all that stuff, right? We hear that all the time. So I want to ask a very simple question, but it's very complex. Okay, so if I list the property, if you see a listing for $1 million, okay, that's number one. Now, when you have a buyer that comes in and want to buy that house, and you have 20 other or 30 or 40 offers coming in, right? So my question for you as a real estate agent or realtors is what do you tell your buyer? And how do you get that property for your buyer? Okay. Now, forget about the mortgage side. Of course, there's other, let's just say they fully qualify. They, forget about the real. Just talk about the real estate pricing first. So I want to go around the room here and kind of give your thoughts to the audience. Like, okay, you see a property listed for $1 million.
Yeah.
You have a buyer who really likes the house. You have 30, 40, 50 competing offers. I'm going to just throw it out there to make it exaggerated, right? Because you'll see later on when I come up why I say that. How do you win that offer? So what do you do? I mean, anybody wanted to go first?
Good to try.
Okay, so I may share my experience. So if the house you say this is 1 million,
Yes.
and my buyers already really like the house, that's what we call motivations.
Okay.
So we have answered yes for that motivation. So the second question that I might ask my buyer, that's for the affordability. That means if they feel comfortable with the mortgage payment, about the results, and it's just the good thing that they're looking for. Like, they can see like 100 house, and this is the last one, and they really fall in love. So my question is, yes, we will forward, and even that we have a commit, like 40 or 30 offer, I will make a call to the listing agent,
Okay.
and honestly tell her what my buyer can afford.
Okay.
And if she say, oh, it's a 1.1 million, but my seller expect for 1.1 million,
Okay.
I will go back and I do the CMAs. I will talk to my buyers and let them to make decision. And you go for that, or if you say, oh no, it's still like too much. Even I love it, but I cannot afford, and I want to wait. Yes, then my last day already reached the final decision. I won't make an offer.
Okay.
But if they say 1.1 million,
Mhm.
then I will make an offer.
Okay. So let's just say with Tammy's answers that the client decide to say, yes, I can afford up to 1.1 or 1.2 million. And she's competing with 40 offers.
Yeah.
And so what number are you going to write in the contract?
That's what I just tell you.
Yeah.
I will call the listing agent.
Okay.
And I just
So-
tell her the honest, that's because my buyer can only
Sure.
qualify to 1.1 million.
Okay.
That's what my buyer.
So let's say the client decides to say they qualify up to 1.1 million. So will you put an offer at 1.1 million?
No, not yet.
Not
I
yet.
have to call the listing
So let's say you talk to the listing agent. The
and
listing
then the
agent
listing
say,
agent say 1.1, maybe my seller, will give you a counter offer.
okay.
Then I go back to talk to my buyers and ask him, do you feel comfortable with that? Because if less than 1.1,
So
then
basically,
don't waste
you
your
got
time.
the honest listing agent.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So do you see anything wrong
Yeah,
when
that's-
Tammy called the listing agent and the listing agent told Tammy
Yeah, that's-
that my seller is looking for 1.1 million?
Yeah, that is something
You're not
wrong.
supposed to say that.
Yeah. We
No.
can't
So
do
let's say
that.
the listing agent told Tammy at 1.1. What is the listing agent supposed to do for all 40 other agents that called him?
No, I just ask for the qualified.
No, what I'm saying is when you as an agent, when you're about to prepare to write an offer, you do all your due diligence. You do all the inspection report, you read all of it, you talk to the listing agent, you get a number in already.
Yeah.
The listing agent said to you that my seller is looking for 1.1 million.
Yeah.
Your buyer qualified for 1.1 million. What number will you put on the offer?
My buyer will decide.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what do you the buyer is going to ask you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the buyer doesn't know, right? The
I
buyer don't know.
recommend them with the CMA, and
Yeah.
I tell them what the listing agent, and then they still make decision.
Okay, so at the end of the day, it depends on the client. But the client asks you because you're a professional. So how do you answer that? I mean, how would you answer the client? The client said, "Well, I don't know, but I don't want to put a number where I'm overpaying for the house."
Right.
That's why I have the CMA.
So let's talk about CMA. So let's say CMA is good at 1.1 million.
Yeah.
So what number would you put?
So maybe go 1.1.
1.1. So
Yeah.
we don't technically know, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
technically we don't know. Okay.
So,
So let's-
what you have?
So they have two things on their conversation.
Yeah.
Again, this
Mm.
I have two things is that we need to study together.
Right.
The first thing is saying is based on the loan qualification.
Yeah.
The second thing is based on the CMA,
Mm-hmm.
and the next one is based on the information you get from the listing agent.
Yeah.
Like saying he got the 40 offer, and he say you are put this number, and my saying if you have 40 offer, they might put this. But the more thing you hear,
Mm-hmm.
that is you got the kind of open, cold, honest listing agent, right? It's the no something.
Mhm.
To me, it's no something. Okay, they will tell you that put your best offer, and you work with your buyer, put your best offer, and based on your comfortable, your buyer is, okay, and you suggest them whatever you work on your buyer side, make your best offer, and they can afford to buy it. Okay, I just get the end information. Okay, the same probably saying, hey, at this time, how many offer you have?
Mm.
Do you have any offer?
Yeah.
What is your buyer is looking for?
Yeah. Seller.
Okay. I just get it,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the information is based on my study,
Mm.
my buyer ability,
Mm.
affordable, happy with the offer.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not forced.
Mhm.
I give them suggestion, very fair suggestion.
Yeah.
Right, that's my opinion.
Right. I agree with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to add more?
Yeah, from my point of view, like let's say if you have buyer
Mhm.
and he already like the property,
Yeah.
so I would suggest you can check first. You can see the property in person and how it's like property's condition,
Mm.
and based on that we can put the offer, and then we can talk with the listing agent how much they have offer, how many they have currently offering.
Yeah.
So based on that we can go further.
Mm. Okay. So she prepare the offers.
Yes.
Okay, to win the offer, I think we have to present the strongest offer. Okay, for example, first thing you have to compete with the cash buyer. And let's say all of them, the eligible not cash buyer, strong offer we refer to like we have
Non-contingency.
no contingency. If the house is already inspected, right? You can tell where we're gonna remove no contingency, no appraisal contingency, no inspection contingency. The last thing is no contingency. And if you are sure about the loan officer or the lender already sure 100% you qualify, you can have people, you can write out the have contingency removed within 7 days, for example, to be safe. And that thing, I think that's a strong offer. Even like somebody offer let's say you offer $1.1 million, they offer 1.12, a little bit higher. If your offer stronger, that way they might accept your offer.
To be added, this is my opinion. Is that's based on their, of course, based on their health conditions, based on their how long their house in the market,
Yes.
and how aggressive on the other end would sell the house. During those conversations with the buyer, the listing agents. But you need to trust yourself. You need to trust your number. You need to study and you need to do diligence. And before you have a fair, professional talk to your buyer.
Right.
That's
So-
a lot of factor.
So let's just say I'm gonna throw another one. So we really haven't gotten into the right answer yet, or
Yeah.
the correct one yet, right?
No,
So we're kind of just say, well, it could depend, right? Which is fine,
So
because there's a lot of depends. But at the end of the day, when you write an offer,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to base on something,
right.
okay?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you this. So let's just say the seller, the listing agent say, okay, you know what, give me the best. So they're gonna do the right way. Right way is right. Do the best you can.
Yeah.
I have 40 offers. I have 20 on hand. We're gonna review it tonight. Okay, do the best you can, Tammy. Do the best you can, Ty. Do the best you can, Stanley and Krishna. Do the best you guys can. Okay, I can't give you any guidance. Just do the best you can. We have 40 of them in, all over asking.
40.
Okay, that's the right way.
Big number.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
That's the right way of the listing agent supposed to do.
Oh yeah.
Right? I got 40 of them and all of them over asking. So you do the best you can. And then
Yeah.
most agent will say what? Is it over 1.1, over 1.2, over 1.3, over 1.050,
Yeah.
right? That's what you guys ask, right?
Right.
The right thing that the listing agent is supposed to do is say, well, I can only tell you
Yeah.
over asking.
Yeah.
That's the right way.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
cannot tell you over 1.1,
Yeah.
1.2,
Yeah.
1.3, 1.050.
Yeah, over
If they do
asking.
that, then it's more like skewing them where it's going to go. That's not really a fair market, right? It's more like you're skewing them, right? You're guiding them to a certain numbers, okay? Which is not supposed to happen. So all they can do is say, hey, we have an over asking and do the best you can, okay? So once this listing agent decided to say, let's just say everything's done right and everything else, and the listing agent decided to say, okay, we're going to counter 3 people. So let's just say Tammy is one and Ty, Krishna, or let's counter 4. Let's say all 4 of you guys are here. Okay. So we're going to do a multiple. I'm a listing agent. I'm going to do a multiple counter to all you guys.
Yep.
Okay. So I listed $1 million. I'm going to do a multiple counter for all 4 of you.
Yep.
And I'm going to do a multiple counter at 1.2 million.
1.2.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay. So now my question here, my question for all you guys here
Yeah.
is where do I get that 1.2 from?
Because you based on
Based on what?
the offer comments.
Oh, all you guys are below. You guys are all below 1.2, right? That's why I do a multiple counter, right?
Yeah.
Because if I have a 1.2, why have to do a multiple counter at 1.2?
Okay.
I should take the 1.2. But if I have multiple offers, I'm sure below 1.2. That's why I'm doing a multiple counter to do 1.2. Because why? I talk to the seller. The seller say, oh, the market's hot. I want to get an extra dollar or two. So, let's do a multiple counter at 1.2. So the seller tell the listing agent, me, to do so. So which I do, right? I send it to you guys
Yeah.
at 1.2,
Right.
multiple counter,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
That's where I get the number from.
Right.
If I have an offer at 1.2, I would not multiple counter at 1.2. I would just take the 1.2, correct?
So now
The
that's
only way I do a multiple counter is over the number that I have to see if I can get more dollars for my seller, correct? Okay, so now I do a multiple counter at 1.2. So now what do you guys do? So Tammy has a client that
1.1.
qualified for 1.1.
Yeah.
So what does she do?
Stop.
She done.
Yeah.
That's the correct way,
Yeah.
right? Because unless the
Normal.
buyer decides to say, I can put more money down, I can stretch it, whatever it is. I have an extra 100,000 laying somewhere, I'll buy it, right? So if the buyer decides to do that, that's fine.
Yeah.
Agreed? So now, what do you guys do now with the multiple counter at 1.2?
Well, first thing,
So there's no right or wrong, guys. It's
right.
just more like your experience, okay?
for the number, first thing would before you list the house, you have to present the seller with the CMA.
Right.
You say the highest and lowest.
Right.
Again, the average. Just say the highest they can sell is a 1.3, for example.
Right.
The lowest $1 million.
Right.
And now you get an open that. And now, if the seller is one of 1.4, that's over the average. They can do that if it's a seller's market. They can do that. Okay, and a lot of people willing to pay more.
Right.
I've seen one of the property in Palo Alto, they will sell like over $1 million asking
Right.
price.
Yeah.
We've seen that a lot.
Yes.
So in that situation, only people who pay cash, they can afford. They don't care because when they like the house, they like the location, and they want to get doesn't matter how much because house real estate is a long investment. In 10 years, gone, they're gonna make some money anyway, so they don't care. Just like I say, right? So
So
go back to that. First thing I'm gonna ask my client if they can afford that, even like the appraisal, the loan approval only 1.1. So if they can afford to stretch out $100 from their pocket and go for it. And of course you have to see the CMA, be aware of that.
But if your offer is whatever you offer, and the price is just less than the appraisal price.
so people will pay us, bring in the money.
If they have money cheap from their pocket,
Yeah.
let's say the appraisal is one.
But you need to
talk with buyer.
You need to
Explain that to the buyer.
Explain to
put
the buyer.
everything on
Yeah.
on the
Yes.
discussion with your buyer, right?
Right.
Otherwise, they come back and
Of
and
course,
your problem,
of
right?
course, like the
So basically, you guys saying is that depending on the client, which is fine. I mean, let's just say the client agrees to buy the property at 1.2 million. They have the money, they get the approval, they have the extra cash. So who's going to come in at 1.2? Who's going to come up with more, and who's going to come less? Right? So four of you guys have multiple counter, right? So if you say I accept 1.2, 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 then what am I going to do?
Oh my God.
Right?
Then
No,
you-
we're talking about the buyer right now, right? Because I do a multiple counter to four of you guys.
Then you can.
So what do you guys do?
Uh-huh.
As a real estate agent professional,
to win.
what do you guys do? I do a multiple counter at 1.2. What do you guys do to win that offer for your client?
I'm ready to say it before, like a thing like a seller which consider the strongest offer.
Right.
That's the order that we come back with 1.2.
Yeah.
And then they look at the offer and see, look at the financial situation, and then look at the contingency removal, and that's two things they look
Okay.
at.
So there's one thing that you guys missing,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
So the first thing I would do is I call the listing agent.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I have a multiple counter, right? So I'm not going to ask you how many counter you did,
Yeah.
okay? Because multiple, there could be two
Two
or
three.
200, whatever. Okay, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
because multiple is multiple. It doesn't matter how many.
Right.
Okay. So for me, it's more like, what do I need to do to get this house, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know you multiple count at 1.2. I don't know how many how many counters you did, but my client likes the house. What number can I need to be? Because I'm not going to accept 1.2. If I'm the buyer's agent, right, on the selling side, selling agent, right, I'm not going to say I take the 1.2. If the client wants the house, I'm going to say, I'm going to talk to the listing agent. I'm going to offer X amount. I'm going to take the house. Because if you guys accept 1.2, I come in at 1.3, I take the house. You guys could just go find another house.
Oh, so you.
I'm representing the buyer, right? Right? I'm going to represent the buyer. I'm going to put more.
Yeah.
Why? Because I know you guys are going to do the same. If it, like Antai says, the seller market, they're going to do it. They're going to do whatever it takes,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to come in at a certain number. Here's the question that irks me for the longest time since last year till now. Where do I get the 1.3 come from?
From the
It's from
buyer.
buyers, right?
No.
No, from
How we come up with the 1.2? Really,
Huh?
Not only the 1.2, but where do I get the 1.3 come from? That's the key, because I got the house. Let's say I got the house at 1.3. The question I have is, where does the 1.3 come from? So Antai said this is about Palo Alto. Sold for over $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Where did that over $1 million come from?
You not say
So
about-
not only that, let me add this too.
demand.
If the client wanted to pay over $1 million, why didn't they buy that 5 years ago? Why didn't they buy it 2 years ago? Why didn't they buy it a year ago? If they're willing to pay over $1 million, why didn't they buy this long time ago?
So they-
Why did they wait until the seller market to offer $1 million over?
So they just have an urgency now.
Timing.
They are
No, not the urgency.
No urgency.
No urgency.
If you have an urgency, you're not paying over $1 million. You already have a lot of money,
You can
right?
buy two properties,
Yeah, you
right?
can buy a whole bunch. There's no urgency in buying properties. Because why? You have a lot of money. So there's no urgency of buying money,
So you mean the
Right?
people when they have
buying
more,
properties. I mean,
they have more money, they don't care.
right. So there's no urgency,
Yeah.
right? So let's say Tammy, you have a $10 million
Yeah.
in your pocket, in your
Yeah.
bank right now.
Right.
Do you have an urgency to buy a house?
If I buy that house.
But do you have an urgency? Do you need to buy a house? That's urgency, right? I need to buy a house or else I'm going to be a homeless. That's urgency.
I just think urgency is more than
No.
No,
You
not
need to buy a house. Urgent, right?
It's
I'm
basically-
urgent.
Okay, then down.
You don't, right? You have 10 million in the bank. I can live in a hotel for a whole year,
Yes, it's true.
right? And I don't have to clean up the house or anything.
Yeah.
I can live in a penthouse
Yeah,
for a whole year,
that's true.
right? So there's no urgency for someone who's in that stature, but yet they're paying over $1 million for a house. So he cannot say it's urgent. There's no urgency there. It's a decision that they decided to make,
Yeah.
not an urgency.
Okay.
So my question here has been irking me for the longest time, for the past year and a half. Where does the number come from? I used to be an appraiser myself, licensed appraiser. Okay. So we use sales comparison approach. That's what we do.
Right.
Okay. So your CMA lacks a lot of things, but I'm not going to go into it. Okay. So I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, all the CMA is wrong. No. I mean, just because I'm used to be a licensed appraiser doesn't mean anything. Okay, guys. That's what I used to do for a living. Okay. I appraise a lot of properties. So in the Bay Area, I know exactly how the property. I went from Los Banos all the way to San Francisco and Sacramento. All the I appraised properties all the way along. I didn't go as far as LA or anything, but pretty far. So my question for you is very simple. Where does that number come from? The number that the house sold for over asking. Okay. So for instance, going back to the $1 million house that I listed. So now it's sold for 1.3. Okay. So where does that 300K come from? Where does that 1.3 number comes from? The client not gonna know. The client's not gonna say, "Oh, I'll pay 1.3." So all of you guys who attended my Saturday training knows this. Okay, I'm gonna throw it out. So for instance, let's remove all realtors from the transaction.
Yes.
I'm a seller, no realtors. I list the house for 1 million.
So your
So-
for sale by owner.
Forget about for sale, it doesn't matter. So you're just buyers. You decide to buy, right?
Yeah.
So until you saw my house,
Yeah.
right? I listed for 1 million. You're just a buyer, no realtor. So remove your realtor mind,
Yeah.
hat off, right? You want to come buy my house, right? So what number you want to offer? Do you want to buy my house?
1 million.
Usually I would go online and show like the Zillow or True and see how
Okay.
much the price worth.
Right. So let's say,
Idea.
okay, so let's say you went to Zillow, Redfin, or whatever it is, and you see my house value is 1.1 million,
Right.
but I'm selling for 1 million only.
Okay.
Okay, no realtors. So what do? You want to buy my house though?
Yeah.
You offer, right?
Right.
So how much?
1 million.
We say you want $1 million.
I listed for $1 million. I didn't say I want it, but I listed for $1 million.
Very straight answer.
Yeah.
Very straight answer.
Yeah. Based on research online,
Yeah.
the house worth about $1 million. Right? Let's
You
say
pay-
Zillow's 1.1.
1.1.
Okay.
Before I make offer, I'm gonna talk to the buyer and seller.
No.
You
Don't
are
forget
the
about no
buyer.
realtors.
You are the buyer.
No.
You are the buyer.
Okay, you talk to me. Okay, you talk to me. Let's do role play. You talk to me.
Say, I'm gonna ask you like, you want, if I offer $1 million, would you sell it?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Depends on your condition, right? Because
Right.
what if you have a lot of condition?
Right.
So it depends. So
I'm gonna tell you what I qualified for and
Okay.
how much I offer.
Okay.
And here it is.
okay, how much will you offer?
Well, it depends on the market. Okay, if the market is hot, I may pay a little bit more.
Okay, so you pay more.
Right.
Okay, so you will pay more. Let's say market's hot.
Right.
So you will come in pay more.
1.1.
Okay, how about you?
I don't deal with for sale by owner.
See out.
Okay, yeah. How about you?
I will pay only 1 million because my requirement is not that much priority. It's my investment property, so I can go for only 1.
Okay, so but you have conditions, so that's
Yeah.
different. How about you?
That's depend on what I need.
Okay.
Yes. If I like the house,
Mhm.
I need the house.
Mhm.
And
No.
I can afford.
Just imagine you guys are buyers. Don't put don't put condition.
condition, right?
Yeah. Don't think about remove your real estate hat.
Yeah.
Remove your real estate hat.
Okay.
So it's just a buyer, regular
If I
buyer.
like the house, I pay $1 million.
You pay $1 million. Okay. So there's no right or wrong answer, right?
Right.
No right, wrong.
So what I do is I pay less than $1 million. Why?
You are the seller or you are buyer?
I'm the buyer.
Oh,
Why do you think I pay less than $1 million?
you pay less
Because
than-
the seller doesn't have to pay for the commission to the.
No.
No.
Don't think about
No,
it,
don't
but-
think about real estate. See, that's why I say remove your real estate hat. Whoever attend my training knows the answer. Okay? Remove your real estate hat. Why do I pay less than $1 million?
You're right.
Because
I
what?
will pay less.
Why? Because human nature always want a deal. So for you, will you pay $2,000 for this?
No.
No.
No, I know.
It doesn't
exactly.
matter.
Wait.
If it's brand new or whatever,
Yeah,
you still
yeah.
want a deal,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's say you sell your car.
Mm-hmm.
You do your research. The car you want to sell for 10,000.
Yeah.
Will you buy 11,000? No, you want a deal. You want 8,000. Human nature
It's
always want a deal.
Always looking for discount, right?
Okay, so my question is, where does that 1.3 come from? If you are a buyer, will you offer my house for 1.3 million?
No.
No.
No real estate agent.
No.
No.
Remove all the real estate agent out of the transaction.
No.
Okay.
Pay less.
So what would you do?
Pay less.
I will pay only 1 million or less.
Or less?
Or
Yeah.
less.
If I like the house, I like the house, I
You pay-
pay you more.
You still pay more.
Oh,
Okay. So you have conditions. You're
He has
willing to
enough
pay more.
cash.
Yeah.
Okay. So majority of people,
Yeah.
human nature, always looking for a deal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Buy less.
So audience, if you selling something, contact Antai. If he likes it, he'll pay more.
Yes, okay.
But in all fairness,
Yes.
majority of
Yeah.
people, human nature
Yeah.
mindset
You got the
thinking
point.
is they always looking for a deal.
Got the
It
deal.
doesn't matter what the market
Got the
shows,
deal.
right? Even let's say when I sell, let's say if you decide to sell my R8, my sports car, right? Let's say I sell it for, I want to sell for 150,000.
Yeah.
The people who want to come in, they're not going to pay 160, 170.
Like
No,
140.
No.
they're going to give me a deal. They're going to
Yeah.
find a deal. They want to
Right.
offer a smaller, even though the car is the same as everybody else.
So then you have to list higher.
But
Asking
here's
price
the
is
problem
low.
here is not about me. The
Ah.
problem is about the buyer.
Buyer.
Ah.
Okay. The question in my mind has always been,
Mm.
okay, where did the number come from?
I
Okay.
think
the
So if we use example earlier, remove all realtors, okay, and human nature
Yeah.
always looking for a deal,
Oh.
then where did that 1.3 comes from?
I think it's based on conversation, how realtors does, like listing agent and buyer's agent. It's based on conversation, the number came up.
Okay.
300K. And
Okay.
which is very more. If you can afford 300K, putting more price in the property, at least you can buy another property, right?
So I'm gonna
So
throw
that
this out.
Agent.
It's based on the conversation. I mean,
Influence.
yeah, influence. I think so.
So I'm gonna throw this out, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say that now I know it's getting more complicated.
I know.
So now all of a sudden, let's just say,
Yeah.
right? You as a real estate agent, we all know it's very difficult to make money. If you don't close, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
We know that.
Right.
Yeah.
Agree?
Commissions.
So guess what? You have a what? You have what? You're vested in this transaction.
Yeah.
You don't want to let it go.
You invested time.
You're already
Effort.
into the deal. You already got a counter offer on the deal. You have all this.
Yeah.
You already got your foot in the door. You're not gonna let it go.
Yeah. That's true.
You as a real estate agent, what are you supposed to do now? You invested all this time. You take, just like my client. I'm gonna refrain announcing his name and everything because I don't have his permission.
Yeah.
But he bought a property, and I can tell you in Fresno. And before he bought his second home, he asked me, what do you think about the market? Blah, 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 blah. Should I buy now? Should I offer more? Should I do this? I said, look, offer what you can afford.
Yes.
And don't go over what you're not comfortable,
Yeah.
Right.
regardless of what the real estate agent says.
Right.
Right.
Okay, that's what I told him.
Yeah.
Okay, so he got into contract. He got 5% equity. That means he bought the property at a certain amount, and it was appraised 5% more. So he got a deal.
Good.
3 days ago, he called me up and said, hey, Mike, I found a deal. This house is pretty big. Like $670,000. The listing agent dropped the house from 670 something to 620 something. Now it's at 600. So it's a deal. So I think I can get in about 580ish. Okay, I'm gonna try to get in at 580,
Want to get.
Yeah.
and then 3 months later I'm gonna flip it around for 650. Right? I said, you know what? Let me do some homework for you. So yesterday I finally emailed him early morning, and I tell them, hey, you know what? I don't think it's a good deal. Okay. I give him the reason why. I showed him the comps. I show him everything, and he goes, so yesterday, in the afternoon, he calls me. He said, he replied back to my email, said, thank you very much for your time, blah, 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 blah. And then afternoon, like late afternoon yesterday, he called me. He called me up, and he goes, Mike, I don't know why, but now when I check back on Redfin, the house estimate is only 580.
No.
And I'm like,
2 days ago. 600.
And I'm like, so he goes, how can that be when I saw it like 5 days ago or so at 675? I'm like, I don't know. That's something I have no control over. So I just want to throw this out there for you guys. We all know Zillow bought a whole bunch of properties from seller directly.
Yeah.
Redfin bought a whole bunch of property directly from
Right.
from from sellers, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you guys know on something. This happens throughout the whole industry, and we did this back in year 2000,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Right.
So when a new builder build a home, track homes, we build 10 of them. We buy 10 of them at a time.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what Zillow and Redfin did the same thing.
Same thing.
So they buy a whole block of whoever want to sell in that zip code, right?
Yeah.
So they buy, let's say 10.
Mhm.
And then the next month or so, they buy higher for the
Yeah.
next 10.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then the next week, they're going to buy 10 more, but higher than the second week. So guess what happened? The house that they bought on the first week, they just made money.
Need money.
Because why? Appraiser use
Comment.
sales comp.
Yeah.
Realtor use CMA.
Yeah.
CMA.
So how can you, how you see if the price goes up?
That's the game.
That's the game they're playing.
That's the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So guess what? You as real estate agent, who's supposed to be, seasoned, you should see that. You should know this. You should, advise your client accordingly, right? You have to be able to see. Oh, like a lot of agents say, oh, but a month ago the market changed. The real estate market changed 2
Yeah.
months ago, 1 month
Yeah.
ago, right? So the market changed,
1 month.
very fast,
Very fast.
right? So are you willing to put your buyer in a position that they can't switch out, right? You need to do your homework, right? So yeah, but then again, you're well, the client really liked the house, blah blah. I spoke to hundreds of realtors and through my training. I train hundreds of realtors
Yeah.
of different companies.
Yeah.
Okay, and they invite me to their place, and we do the training and all that. And I ask realtors when they're in the audience the same thing, right? How do you advise your client the number you put down on the offer? Where do you get that number from? And then when, of course, obviously they say, oh, I talked to this, I talked to that, I asked the client tells me the number, right? Which is bogus.
Yeah, which is very.
Which is bogus. I'm gonna call out realtors right now. Okay, it's bogus. You guys as realtor put out that number, and the client decides to say yes, I agree. The client never really, very small percentage. The client decides to say, you know what, I'll offer $1 million. Here you go. Here's the check.
Yeah.
How many people do that? Human nature always want a deal. They're not gonna say, Antai, go ahead, put in 1.3. I have plenty of money.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely.
Rare, very, very rare that somebody really like a house. Kid you not, I have a client that comes to me do the loan. She bought a home last year. Actually, she bought a home last year, closed beginning of the year in January. She bought for 2.2 in Willow Glen, I think, Willow Glen area, 2.2 million, very nice house. Okay? She came to me the other day. Actually, she come every month, kind of, talk to me and, discuss about what her progress has been. She goes, man, I have to put $300,000 to fix this house. She bought for 2.2, now it's 2.5, right? And she's miserable because she had to put 300,000 to fix the house. Is it nice? Yes. Is it a nice neighborhood? Yes. Is it worth 2.5 million? I don't know.
You see the report, inspection report.
Oh, she does. But that time was what? Seller's market.
Seller's market,
Oh,
and
okay.
she.
So what do you do?
What?
You want a house? And guess what? She got 2 other homes. So there's no urgency to buy.
I know.
But again, I'm not going to call out realtors. I'm not going to say nothing. But again, if we look at it, and if the client decided to buy the property for a certain price, we as realtors, and a lot of realtors out there are going to say this, that, well, we're just following what the client tell us to do, which is true, right? But still, I beg you the question, where that number come from, right? Because that's where it put us in a bad position, put the market in a very dangerous position to collapse, okay? Because people say, oh, well, the market's not going to collapse because supply demand, okay? Before the live stream, we talk about that a little bit, right?
Yes.
Supply demand.
Yeah.
So when I hear supply demand and economics and everything else, I kind of laugh because I read about news a lot, and you guys get all my newsletters
Yep,
that I sent
every
out
day.
all the time.
Thank you.
And the question here is this: like the funny part is, the news always late. The data comes in, the news comes out, right? It's always late.
Yeah.
It's not real
Late.
time, right? So the question really simple is this: supply demand. So we all know the pandemic. When the pandemic hits, we went to Costco buy toilet paper.
Yeah.
So it's empty.
It's empty.
Like I go Safeway, I go to Costco, I go to wherever, no toilet paper, right? Like none,
None.
Allow one.
right? None, like no toilet paper,
Yeah.
Even
right?
the
And then
grocery.
the sanitary wipe, none,
None.
right? That's supply demand problem,
Yeah.
right? We have too much of a demand. Actually, that's more like a scarcity problem,
Scarcity.
right? I mean, we don't have anything on the shelf.
Yeah.
Okay, so now and all of a sudden we have the lumber problem, right?
Yeah.
Went from the 2x4 went from $3-4 up to $8, $9,
Oh yeah.
right? Double, triple the price.
Because of
Now it
shipping.
went
Yeah.
down because of shortage, because of of all the transit time and all that stuff. So there's a shortage, right? Scarcity. So my question here is the same thing. Right now, if you go on MLS or anywhere, real, I'm not gonna name website too much, but let's just say you go to any website to look for homes. There's a lot of homes,
Yep.
right? And if you look at realtor who can access certain data, you can see how many days on the market the property is.
Yep.
So the question I see a lot now, like more than 10 days, 15 days, 20, 30, 40 days. So my question still, do we have a supply demand problem? When you have all these homes, that's 20 days, 30 days, 40 days, open house, nobody show, problem.
Right.
And yet we still have supply demand problem. We hear this all the time. We talk to buyer, yeah, we have a supply demand problem. So do we have one?
I don't think so.
You don't
No,
think so?
I
We have
think
enough inventory, right, in the market.
I don't know.
to define like supply demand, or when you let's say to show to me the sign of the high or low demand or low supply is, let's say when you say low supply, I mean like when you go to online, when you check MLS, see most of the property sell within 7 days. Most of the listing like got overbid, sell over listing price. That's two sides of the low supply or high demand, something like that. That I can think of one supply demand.
So that's good because you pointed out, data market and overpricing, right? So I see this a lot on realtors. And again, I'm single out realtors, and the reason why is because it starts with you guys. Okay, so let's just say I have a property. I do my CMA, I do all that, and it comes out at $1 million. Okay, so if I list at 900,000 and I sell for $1 million, is that over asking?
No.
Yes, it is. My asking price is how much?
900K.
I sold for $1 million. Is it over asking? Is it over asking? It's over asking. Because I asked for 900, I sold it for $1 million. It's over asking. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So now, because I list at 900, I sold it in 2 days.
Uh-huh.
It fits what Antai said.
Yeah.
2 criteria.
Uh-huh.
So we have a supply demand problem because I listed at a certain price. Now, let's flip that around. I list at 1.1 million. It sits on the market for 30 days, doesn't do nothing. Right?
Yeah.
Then what? So it doesn't fit Antai's 2 criteria, which now we do not, based on that property, have a supply and demand problem because it sits on the market longer and it's not overbidding, obviously because it's not sold.
Overpriced.
Right? So now we have that problem. So the issue here is the balance between the two. Right? Some realtors like to play games. Some people like myself don't like to play games, right? But some people decide to promise the world to the seller to get the listing. So we have those 3.
Yes.
Which one you belong to, we don't know. It doesn't matter because everybody has their own business. Okay. So I know we're almost in an hour now, and we're about 49 minutes, 50 minutes. I just want to kind of give a couple minutes for everybody to wrap it up. And then that way we can kind of, schedule for the next one. But I really appreciate everybody, especially viewers, to attend our live stream today. And I hope that this brings you a different perspective. Again, there's no right or wrong answers. It's just information. I want you to be more informative in your decision making. So I'm gonna pass it around for everybody to kind of, say your final statement for the viewers, and then we can resume back in our next meeting. So let's start with my left side.
Yes, go to me like when you if a buyer, I mean, the realtor or myself would do like a research and the data would base on like within the last even further, not like in the last 3 months, say the last when the home sale this much and it kind of short, range, time range. So we'll do a little more research for my client. That's what I would do.
Yeah, like my saying is this section here is just no such thing as right or wrong answer. It's just for providing the audience, the viewers, information for open more mind for discussions. That's all.
Krishna?
So yeah, we are at Directqm and we always educate the people. So it's like based on the information we get. And if you are looking for more information or if you want to list your property or selling, like buying the property, feel free to reach out us and you can email us or you can contact us. And have a good day.
So I really appreciate as Michael bringing the topic today. It's really good, and I learned from you guys too. So that's how I see the business now. It doesn't matter, like you say, it's not right or wrong, but the sellers still can sell the house if they price the house right. And the buyers still can buy the house if they know what they're looking for, what their affordability. And like I say, the facts there, the CMA there, but the decision from the buyer without the agent's influence, I think it's the best, if they can make that decisions.
Well, I'm gonna put this out there, and I think that in the next 5 to 10 years, this is gonna happen. And I'll be honest with you, I'm working with a team that's gonna put this together. Not to say that we're gonna put realtors out of the business, which we do not want to. But I think that if the perfect example I put out is where a seller willing to sell a home and a buyer willing to buy. If we remove the realtor out of the equation, I think that the market will not see the big gains that we see, and we won't have a big problem in the supply demand issue. Just like people say, well, just let the market do its thing. It automatically will correct itself without influence from the outside. Just imagine this, right? When we had COVID 2-3 years ago, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, just imagine this. If the government never print all that money, if the government never gave free money, right? I mean, think about it. I mean, the market will correct itself, right? People will kind of figure it out.
Right.
But now people are so, used to getting free money, staying at home. Nobody want to go to work. I stay at home, I get paid.
Yeah.
I get COVID, I get paid.
We are getting free
Right?
money.
I have a business, I don't make no money, I still get paid. Right? I get PPP loan. It doesn't matter, right? Things like that. It's so unfortunate that yes, the government has the right mindset, right? We want to help the people. We want to do this, we want to do that. But again, the market will always correct itself, right? If you let it some time, it will do it. Why? Just imagine this. 2 years ago, if COVID happened and the real estate market the way it is, do you think that we might have this problem? 30, 40%, $1 million over asking? We won't have that problem, right?
No.
Not only that, 2.5 years ago, everybody, before COVID, everybody was working fine. Everybody's working normal. Everything was normal, okay? And then all of a sudden, everybody become a stock expert. Everybody do day trading. Everybody do option. Everybody know how to do stock trading, right? And then plop the market up because why? All the free money.
Yeah.
All the free money. We printed so much money within the last 2.5 years. That's incredible how much we printed.
It's actually the interest rate has something to do with that.
Right.
too.
So like I say, if the market let it be, the market will adjust, right? That's what I'm saying is the market will adjust. So just imagine, hey, if they need to, they're gonna raise the rate. If they need to, they're gonna lower the
Yeah.
rate. But do not
They can
give free
control
money.
inflation too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get free money every month, will you go to work?
No,
We have a work problem.
I didn't.
Nobody want to work. Fast food, they pay $20. They still have problem for hiring people at $20 an hour. Back then it was $8.50,
Yeah.
right? And everybody was begging to work for $8.50. Now $20. I don't want to work. I stay. See,
So they still receive the
they find a way to figure it out to get free money.
money even now.
So all I'm saying is, guys, I appreciate you guys spending the time your Saturday morning with us. Thank you for all our guests here. Antai, Stanley, Krishna, Tammy from Intero SLB
Yeah.
Realties, Krishna from Directqm, of course. We would like to invite all of you, doesn't matter if you're a real estate agent or not, if you'd like to join us on our next meeting, please drop us a line in the comment section. I'll definitely reach out to you. We'd like to see and hear from different viewpoints. Again, we are here just to kind of educate everybody. We learn from each other, especially myself. I learn from everybody here because I can't be at 4 different places at one time. So, Antai at a certain location, to Tammy and Stanley and Krishna, they all can be different communities, different location, and they can kind of bring that information to us here. And that's why, even though I've been doing it for more than 20 years, I'm still learning every single day. So I just want to throw it out there. Thank you very much, and hope to see you guys in our next stream.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Thanks, man.
You done?
Thanks.